Okay, so welcome to my little little mess. I found some time a little bit this week and last week to make some stuff in between my little journals I'm making and my sales. And I wanted to say that I got this really cool old catalog for sewing patterns at an estate sale last week, and it's full of all of the covers to some old patterns. I'm skipping pages here, but you get the gist of it. Super cool. Anyway, so I've been cutting this up. I wasn't sure if I wanted to or if I could, but then it was just like, do it. Just do it. Why not? Cut it up. So from the pattern book, this was one of the first things that I made with the ladies. This was from one sheet of paper. It was back to back, so it worked out great since I'm, cutting off their legs. It didn't cut too much into the other side of the pictures, but I've dyed these CD sleeves. I've never done an altered CD sleeve before. I don't really get it. I really don't. I guess you're just supposed to slip them into pockets and tuck spots and stuff, but I don't know. It's just more stuff to fill up, I suppose, and they're kind of fun. So, I dyed these sometime this summer, a bunch of them while it was still hot out, and I've just added a piece of paper onto the inside. It's very minimal embellishing. The paper is glued on the front side of the envelope. I do need to go back and glue on another piece of paper into this side of the envelope, just because this paper is so thin and brittle now, especially after I've dyed it. This one is, excuse me, ripped while I was just trying to make a video prior to this, but I forgot that I had my camera oriented in the wrong direction. So I will go through and find another piece of paper, scrapbook paper, that will look, I guess it doesn't matter since you're not really going to be seeing it. Might reuse some packaging and just shove in there to beef it up a little. But I really like this. I saw somebody do this, just adding a tab. They actually added one of those Tim Holtz people cutouts, and the head covered up the little factory tab that's on here, just to add some more rigidity to the flap, because it's also very thin, especially since this is backed with thicker scrapbook paper. It definitely would rip. So I love this. But what she did was really cute, adding the person. But the Tim Holtz people would have just clashed with this vibe, so I decided not to do that. And then the second thing that I've done with the pattern paper women is I started to make 3 little journal covers for just very thin. I'm just going to put in, I don't know, maybe 8 pages in here, and just do a simple 3-stitch bind, and then they can be tucked into tuck spots, pockets, yada yada yada, without adding a whole bunch of thickness to the journal. But I used old stamps, and I emptied out my 2-hole punch the other day and almost threw these away, and I realized that I couldn't. A lot of the stuff that I've punched is vintage / antique papers, and it's just beautiful. I couldn't throw them away. So lucky for me, I didn't, because now I made hole reinforcers out of these old orange reddish raffle tickets. So those turned out really cool. And then I used this hole punch for hole reinforcers. So this was from an old dark red legal, it's a file folder that has the 2 prongs in the top of both of the folders, and it's got a 3rd page in the middle as well, but it's for holding, papers and stuff. That old red color. And then these are from file folder from another project needing green hole reinforcers. But yeah, none of these are finished yet, but that's that. And then today, instead of working listing things on my Facebook page, I decided to do fun stuff instead. Let's see. My friend Laura sent me, I think she said these were just from Temu, which is crazy that they're not AI. I think they're actually scans and reproductions of actual authentic IDs, passport IDs, photos, and all that stuff. So I really like that. And for those of you who don't know me, I deplore AI printables and AI in general. So I made this. This is from, I have one of those really, really tall, super tall Atlas. I think it was a Nat Geo Atlas. And this is the fabric tape that was on the inside for the binding. And I made it into a little tiny journal. And this paper is wicked old. I'm not sure what it was from. I got it at an estate sale, just a small stack of it. Maybe 4x6x8 or 4x6, I don't know. But this is from the cover of the Atlas. And this is another one, just has washi. It was kind of hard to fold, so it cracked when I folded it. So I covered it up with washi, which is Tim Holtz. You know, it has like tickets on it, bus fare and all that kind of stuff. So this is another real simple one. This is from a French passport, and the pages are old and grimy and just perfect. So I don't know what the hole is from on them, but they all had a hole on them. So that's that. Anyway, so this goes with what I did today, like that. I got these paper clips from a gal who lives in Georgia who has Ollie's, and she messaged me, Ebony, and she was like, they have so much stuff on sale. And I was like, get me all the stuff. And she did, and she sent it to me. So anyway, I got these larger paper clips, and I got another set that are hearts. I don't have them right here. I'd show you. But this is the packaging that the standard large paper clips and the other large heart paper clips came on. And I was like, you know what? That's really cute. I normally, don't hang on to this kind of stuff as just, packaging or whatever. I just kind of end up tossing it. I hoard it and never use it. But anyway, so I cut them down and I put them side by side on a piece of old antique music paper, glued them down, cut them out. I used more of the binding from the Atlas book on the side and didn't glue it down on the front here. I made it into a pocket. It's glued down in the back. I originally had 2 staples, 2 mini fasteners, the Tim Holtz, whatever, the tiny, the baby staplers. And it was really bothering me. And so I just ended up putting tape over the top and the bottom to cover up the staples. It is glued about this high up anyway, because it's kind of smooth, glossy, semi-glossy material. Sometimes the Fabri-Tac has a hard time sticking, so I added extra by stapling. You can see them on the inside here, but I don't really care about that, to be honest. It's covered up with the stuff. So anyway, I made this little ephemera folio. Has the little ID booklet in there. This is a doily that's glued onto green file folder and cut out. I like that the green pops through like that. And then this is another one of those little IDs. This is it's adhesive backed little stamp thing or patch that I got in a big bundle bag from Goodwill. And it, is this. Like, who would have thought, just buy this stuff. You never know when you're going to use it. Somebody sent me these cute little girls illustrations from an old children's book. And they are also on the inside of here. I've got a pocket right here of her. And then this opens up and I've got, I need to go like this, because stuff is going to fly out. Come on, phone. Sorry. We're not wanting to behave There, we'll just go at an angle. Anyway, so this flops open. I've glued down this little piece of ephemera. I don't know what it's from. I found it while I was doing stuff. I made this little booklet. I have an old school notepad that was like from the 1860s or 1920s. I don't remember. It had a cover on it with the child's name and the date, but I've used that for stuff. I've used this is the last of it that I have left. It was, much longer, but I keep using little bits of it here and there. I love it. I'm not sure if it was white paper at one point, but I don't care. I really like the semi-craft. And then these papers was just scrap from the paper that I used for my little notebooks, just to give it some character. Some more of Tim Holtz washi, one of the Temu ID things. This is from the backside of the storybook that the children illustrations were from, and it says, "We've got some kittens in the barn. They're way up in the loft. I like to hold them in my lap. They feel so warm and soft." I thought it was so sweet, especially paired with this guy. Like, can you just imagine him giggling and just having the time of his life with a lap full of kittens in his lap? And then I got these from somebody. I don't know. They're just very basic, very cool tags. And then I got this also in a Goodwill bag. Some of these labels, I've got quite a bit of them. But I wanted to make a little stuffed kind of semi-folio, ephemera folio with some goodies in it, because it's fun. And people like it when I list things that I make. I need to glue this down. I had this book over here, and I shoved it in too hard. But, and I forget what these are called. I also got these at the estate sale. I looked them up on eBay. They're pretty spendy. And, oops, dropped a thimble. I've got a big mess going on, but I've got a lot of them, and I love them so much. I will be hanging on to these and doing only special things with them. I think this one was a duplicate, so I feel okay with selling one off. And then this was also from the estate sale. The lady had taken these shrunk down pictures, reproductions of old postcards, and she'd already mounted. So I was like, I don't know. We'll just honor her and keep it as is. And it's, a lot of people would immediately ink up, distress the white edges, but I swear to God, like, I love it. I love having the stark white with all this old stuff. Like, some of it, I continue to distress more, but I just love it. I think it's just gorgeous having some white up against all this stuff. And these, did I talk about these yet? No, I didn't. So these are game cards that I got from Goodwill last week, and they're just trivia. How long had Pamela Anderson known Tommy Lee before she married him? 4 days. Who cares? Whatever. It's crap. But the thing is, look at all of these. Endless supply of beautiful. And then I took that same old notepad and I covered up the stupid writing. So we've got these. I just kind of, get some work done, and I stop and I, start putting backs onto some of these to, not get so bored with my work life. But anyway, I stuck some of those in here as well. It's just kind of fun. Normally I would sell 10 for $1. So it's kind of breaking up the sale style also, just, having a little bundle of stuff. And I'm not trying to sell right now. I'm saying why I was making and what I made today and that type of thing. So anyway, that's that. And I really do have to get back to work and do some stuff. I don't think I've made anything else recently that I wanted to show. I've been working on my little journals. that I have made my one reel for, or my short for, and I haven't really gotten much done with those, but that's okay. But I keep forgetting that I made a YouTube, and I wanted to hop on and at least show some stuff that I've been up to. So with that being said, enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy the rest of the week, and happy crafting. Bye.